And we are all set to get started. Alright, so, just before the stream, I had started working on a big fancy spreadsheet of all of the things that I'm producing in the city and how much stuff they need to make. And I slightly underestimated how long it would take, so we're not quite done yet. Literally just have a couple more. So we're gonna wrap that up real quick so that I can have a complete tally. We are in the middle of doing computers, I believe. So, let's see here. Computers. How much does the computers take? It's getting to the point where I need to search the blueprints probably, although apparently it doesn't pop up. Alright. 120 petroleum coke, 10.5 deuterium ingots, and rubber. So rubber is column P. Alright, deuterium ingots are, I've forgotten already, 10.5. Deuterium ingots, 10.5. And that's column Q equals sum of Q1 through Q100 . Alright. So we've done that. And then the last thing for computers is the petroleum coke. So that can be there. And it's 120 of that, right? Yep, 120 of that. So petroleum coke equals the sum of R1 through R100. And that is computers sorted. What's left in this row? We have heavy modular frames, which are going to be a bit more complicated. So, heavy modular frames. Oh, right, I sorted them up to the top. So, it's going to be total concrete is 46.875 plus 20.625. Okay, let's get that a bit at a time. Heavy modular frames. Production is 2.812. And then inputs are 20.625 concrete. Do I have a concrete row already? No, I don't. 20.625. And then it was plus 46.875. Plus 46.875 is 67.5 concrete total. And then 360 ingots and 170 ingots. I used iron ingots anywhere? No. Iron ingots are 360 plus 170. Equals 360 plus 170. Now we need to make concrete check its usage for column S equals sum of S1 through S100 iron ingots equals sum of T1 through T100. Alright. We do appear to be short on our iron ingot production by like a small amount. So let's hop over here and do one last thing, and then we will be done with everything. So this is the recently created high-speed connectors. So where are those? High-speed connectors are 15 rubber, 30 petroleum coke, 51.375 deuterium ingots. High-speed connectors are 3.75 production and rubber 15, deuterium ingots 51.375, petroleum coke 30. Alright, we are done with all of that. I thought I used iron ingots in more places, but I guess I don't. And I'm pretty sure I've checked every building. Obviously most of them are off stream, so nothing to... So, you know, it's kind of a boring process, but it needs to be done. Now I can just look down the net column and see what we are short of. And we are short of packaged water, deuterium ore, packaged fuel, petroleum coke, and iron ingots. Everything else seems to be positive. Alright. So that's actually not all that bad. So let's find... Oh, but when we increase packaged water production, we're going to also need to increase the regular old water supply. And speaking of dealing with fluids, I have almost finished unlocking pipeline engineering. I'm going to go down and do that real quick. So let's hop on over there to the hub. Actually, before I do that, check that I actually have the resources, and I do. That's great. Alright. So now we can throw all that in, and Pipeline Engineering Mark II. And that is everything
Milestone
up until the
reached.
unlock of Phase
Pipelines
3
and
in the
pipeline
hub.
pumps can now be upgraded to Mark II. They are like
These
Mark
notes
1, but
are
better.
out of date.
Pipes seem to be objects of fascination to humans. In fact, there are reported instances of humans doing nothing but thinking about pipes for hours.
Mm-hmm. Alright. So let's go and upgrade packaged water, which I guess we may as well do now. The belt speed is going to start to get a bit tough, though. Like when we go up to 900, by putting another one of these up there, it's going to be almost... Our max capacity into it... Our max capacity is... What? I guess we have 2 truck stops here, so it's actually fine. Our max capacity is like almost I think it might be more than 2,000. Yeah, just it's 960 per truck stop because each truck stop is 2 belts. So let's make this better. So let's get a decent vantage point, like over here on top of this conveyor lift. And water packager. Build mode blueprint. And snap it up there. And so that will be another 300 production once we get everything hooked up. So, first we need to rearrange the water inputs so that they work properly for this. Actually, I guess first we'll be fixing this hole in the wall, which exists because of the stupid wall holes not working properly. Alright, so we put that there. We put in a wall hole. And we attach that up. Then does this come with a door, or am I gonna have to make one? I'm gonna have to make one. Okay. You will be the door. And power everything on. Yeah, it looks like that pump got missed in the blueprint. So that is powered on. And we have our wall hole. So now we just need to get the water and the canisters up there. And the the packaged water down. So in order to get the canisters up there, we're actually going to need to split off of these existing lines. So up you go. And in. But that won't be enough, because now these are each getting, like, theoretically 240 each. So I need to balance it more. And I can do that by taking some off of this. And you go up. And there's no need to use a fancy vertical merger here, just a regular old one will work just fine. Alright, so now that has its supply of canisters, and everything should balance out so that that works. Now we need to get down to here, and the water supply might wind up becoming a bit of a problem. So, fortunately, we just unlocked Mark III pipes. So I think what we need to do is stop having these be interconnected and start having them just individually run up. So this pipe can go up there and in. Now we have Mark II pumps, which should be good enough for the entire journey up. Branch out an additional power pole just for convenience. And we will see if that works. Alright, can the water get up all the way? Looks like it. Alright, cool. Mark II pumps are very convenient. Alright, next step is getting the outputs out and into these, which I want to split it between them, but what? No, not those. Oh, I'm in a weird. I was in a weird hotbar that I wasn't expecting. That explains it. Alright, so that has to come around there. And then it needs to, I guess, balance between these two truck stops. So let's see here. We split it. And then half of it will merge with each of these. So let's put a merger on there. And that's not really going to work, is it? Actually, hang on. One of these is getting way more demand than the other, right? Oh, right. Currently it's all stopped because of backlogs. So let's just attach this into one of them. And then hopefully it'll be fine. Alright. Hopefully that works out. I guess we can maybe a vertical merger on there would have enough distance for the splitting to work. And yes, there we go. All right. So that is all set up. Now we have to increase the packaged water to 900 production and uses 900 water, which is of course going to break the water supply. So let's head out there. Let's see if we can fix that. Now, if we make these pipelines Mark II, that should compensate for the inputs being disrupted when the train comes by. So then we just have to make sure that there is actually enough. And that's this line here. Yep. So let's head on over there and put in a bunch more water producers. And we will probably also increase the pipes on the other side to Mark II, because that will just make so I don't have to place whole new pipes and whole new pumps and everything. It'll be a lot more convenient that way. All right. Almost there. here we are. So now let's make those Mark II pipes. And yeah, let's make this entire line Mark II. New Mark II. Now, I really hope that... Uh-oh. Alright, we caught the ladder. Yeah, my brain defaulted to... Yeah, I probably have a hover pack. It'll be fine. And it was not fine. I need to stay mostly on the ladder where possible. Alright, so let's climb back up here. That needs to be a Mark II pipe. Then we need to get around here and upgrade these guys. Alright, making sure I didn't miss any spots. Alright, just upgrading along. And I really hope there aren't any weird, fancy hidden pipe sections like behind the pumps or anything. That would be very annoying if it were the case. Alright. There's no real reason not to make all of these pipes Mark II. It's just plastic. Just plastic and copper sheets, and I have plenty of both. Alright. So we have all that. And let's upgrade those just for good measure.
A productive pioneer is a good pioneer.
Let's add in a couple more water extractors. So that will be 360 more water from these three. So let's bring this over here. And then I guess we will hook it up to either of the two sides, just like there and there. Alright, and then we power these extractors on. 2, 3, and power pole where? Alright, there's an additional connection on that, so I guess that'll work out. Alright, so that should be that. And now this whole thing should produce faster. And I will go to my spreadsheet, upgrade water production to 960. Alright, that is that. Next up on the list is Caterium ore, which isn't terribly surprising. We're using a lot of that stuff apparently. So let's get back to the base. So the Caterium ore is the last of the inputs that we need to fix, although maybe fixing... Yeah, I should be fixing the other things first, because increasing packaged fuel usage might break something. No, it's probably fine. Let's find another Caterium ore node and hook it up. Or I suppose it would be easier to just overclock the one I have. I have power shards. Well, I have slugs at least, and I have summer sloops to turn them into power shards. So let's. All right, I have summer sloops, right? Yeah, I got plenty. All right. So, give me a spot with power relatively nearby, and then I will finally, after all of this time, go through the effort of converting any of my slugs into power shards. Which I guess it would make sense to do that over here by the hub. So let's get over there. There we go. And up over this way. I just want to confirm this is producing as much as I thought it was. Oh, it's producing more. Oh, no, it's not. It's working at 50%. Alright, yep. I added in my spreadsheet that I was making 15 because I thought that's what it was making. But I hadn't actually checked, but now I have. Alright, so let's get a constructor there. Tell it to make, I don't know, something. It's gotta be something that I can have it actually make. So let's put a summer sloop in. Tell it to make a recipe, and then once it does that, then future recipes it makes. So now the summer sloop is active, so I can tell it to make me some power shards. And also, I just realized I literally never unlocked the ability for this. So let's get copper sheets so I can unlock that. I have really been slacking on some of this MAM stuff. Alright, check.
Research completed. Purple power
Sulfur is
slugs
still
seem to be near
horrible.
the end of their life cycle and have a significant amount of potential energy stored. It is a good thing Fix-It does not waste. Purple power slugs can now be processed into power shards.
Now I have a whole bunch of power shards. And once this is done, I'm going to put the purples in as well. And then we'll just leave that there. And then go over and overclock the Caterium production. Alright. So that's that. Then we set this to make purples. And off we go. So maximum overclock more than doubles the production. So my Caterium ore production, which is relatively close to being sufficient, will suddenly be more than enough. Up to 300. Which is going to require, you guessed it, more Mark IV belts the entire way along. My poor encased industrial beam supply, that's being produced not even in the factory. Like, that's just some random outpost somewhere doing that. And it is, like, single-handedly responsible for 90% of my construction at this point. Alright, so then that. And at this point, I've already used Mark IV belts, so that is fine. Deuterium ore production is now up to 300. Another gross negative sign removed from the spreadsheet. Alright, next up, we have to go up there and fix packaged fuel. Because we were using, theoretically, exactly all of our packaged fuel to make rubber, but we're also using some for moving tractors around. So we need to fix that problem real quick before anything goes horribly wrong. Alright. Packaged fuel. Build mode blueprint. Right, it's one of those ones, huh? Okay. So we put that up there. And that's another 22.5 crude oil and 60 water. So let me mark that. Plus 22.5. And plus 60. Alright. Haven't generated any problems there. Now we just need to actually wire it up. So, water goes up there. It's going to need to be faster water. Mark III will be enough, I think. So let's see, 60 goes there. The rest comes up here. And we get a splitter on here. And this is going to be kind of fast and loose, but hopefully we'll probably standardize this at some point. Make it nice, but for now, let's just get it done. So we attach that into, alright, too steep. Need to actually get up here so I can see what's going on. Yes, we need a bit more height. And in the water goes. Then we need to do the same thing with the crude oil. And it will also need a faster belt. But I think just at the beginning. So let's do the math. So crude oil is 22.5, so it's just barely... Wait, is it even? Hang on. Package, yeah, 67.5 total crude oil used, so as soon as it gets to the first splitter, then it's fine. And that is that. And then the packaged fuel comes down. Alright, this is one of the ones with relatively complex outputs, right? It's packaged fuel, canisters, and polymer resin that needs to be sunk. Alright, so let's Let's see here. That can merge there. And then come up there. And then that can go in. The middle one can merge there. And then that can come up. And that can go in. The left one can merge there. And then that goes up. And I think I may have missed the positioning on it. And it looks like those might have snapped in even. So let's just assume that that is the case. And now we grab that power pole. We attach it to an external spot and down and in. Alright, now we just need to put these walls in because we forgot to do so in the blueprint. Alright, walls are almost in. Alright, walls are in. Cool. Alright. Now what? So the fuel output isn't really running because it's all backed up. The canister output and the polymer resin output should be fine though. And if the fuel output does run in the future, I'll need to upgrade it. So this section in particular needs to be accelerated. Alright, that last bit doesn't need to be Mark IV, but it can be. The canister output I'm not tracking because they're just recycled, but I'm pretty sure this will also need to be Mark II. So you get to be Mark II. Wait. No, that's the fuel output. That needs to be Mark III. Is this... Where... Alright, the canister output is below even that. So I think that is sufficient. And hopefully that is everything. Hopefully I haven't forgotten to do anything or messed up belt speeds at any point. It would be pretty annoying if I did, but I think we should be good. Alright, the next negative is petroleum coke. So we are using 150 and making 120. That is this guy right here. So let's grab that blueprint. It's another one of these ones. I really need to fix these at some point. So in you go. I suppose the thing is, like, I'm going to be upgrading to Mark II blueprint designers for hopefully everything soon. And then it won't really matter. Alright. So we have this. It's hooked up. It needs to... Right, I need to put it into the spreadsheet. So packaged oil is now 60. Which is starting to run a little close to using all of the packaged oil, but it isn't. So that's nice. And then this will be 240. And it doesn't use anything else, right? Right, alright. So we just need to hook the packaged oil up. So let's get a splitter. And up we go, and in. And a merger there. And up you go. And in. And then finally, the canisters need a merger. Which is going to be a little bit tricky to fit in, but something like that. And around. And with 2, that'll be 60 canisters out, so Mark 1 is fine. Alright. And next we get in here and check. Is this working properly? Probably just taking a while for the crude oil to show up. Yep. There we go. Seeing signs of life inside the factory. And now let's put these walls in. Funny that they have 1 meter walls and 4 meter walls, but no 2 meter walls. Alright, so we have that, and now we find the door, and we leave. Please. Please let me out. Alright, there we go. And we are going to need to upgrade the output belt as well. So, right, so that's the output belt there. And we need to merge that. Hello, how is the factory? Good. We are currently... I've finally gone and made a spreadsheet of all the resources in the factory and like what they're using. So I am currently just running through and building up all of the things which turns out we didn't have enough of. So we have that. That's Mark II. That has to be Mark III now. That has to be Mark III now. And petroleum coke is now being produced fast enough to keep up. Alright, so that is that. Next up are iron ingots. Because apparently you just can never have enough of those things. Yeah, I've been putting off making a spreadsheet for a while, but I've finally gone and done it, and it has revealed all sorts of problems. So it's definitely useful, especially for like interconnected things like this. If you're doing super isolated work, then it's really not necessary, but when you're doing it like this, then it is super necessary. Oh right, the other thing I wanted to do was go and put sinks on some of these things which use a lot of resources, because I don't want the entire thing to stop. So let's get a splitter on this belt, or not. Alright, what if that goes out that way, and then this... Alright, what if we make that straight mode? That now will a splitter fit? No. Alright. So we need to, like... do something like... Wait, I know. Obviously, just put the splitter down first. And then it'll definitely work. So that goes in there, that goes in there. That comes around there. That is not straight, but okay. Good old default build mode. Alright, so now we can put in... Wait. I almost made a horrible mistake. This needs to be a smart splitter, so that it can be smart and not throw things in the trash when I actually need them. So this is going to be right any center overflow, and we take that belt out, put it back in, but connected. And then we put a sink in. And where is a power pole? Where is a power pole? There's one. Make an extra power pole just because you can never have too many. And there you go. We are going to be sinking a whole lot of heavy modular frames, it seems, but that will keep everything running. And now that the primary thing using iron ingots is actually running, it now becomes urgent to actually make the iron ingots. I could blueprint the sink, give it its own floor, and vertical splitter it up. Yeah, maybe. So the thing is, like, I want each floor... The thing that I want is each floor is like a self-contained complete production line. So like all of the modular frames needed are produced here. So theoretically, if I wanted to double this, I could add one more floor on each of these, and then it would be doubled evenly. Whereas if I were to add a dedicated floor for the sink, then it would be slightly off. So I think just having these little overhangs is fine. Although maybe the idea of using vertical space, maybe just like boosting it up a little bit like that. No, it's pretty much just gonna clip no matter what. So yeah. So we'll just have that like that. And then this overhang though is not needed. I should get rid of that. Alright, so we need another floor for iron ingots. Where is my ladder? There's the ladder. And up we go. Can you place a vertical splitter independent of a conveyor belt? I don't think so. From my experimentation, like, I've tried filtering through, like, the different build options, and, like, yeah, it doesn't do that, basically. It just doesn't give you the option, which is a shame because it would be real convenient if it did. Alright. Now I need to get a little bit over here. Iron, pure ingots. Where is the opening? Alright. Pure ingots, blueprint placed. Now I need to wire this up. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely could do that. So you could do something like that, that, and then you have one free floating, but so yeah, you can definitely do that. So it's not a huge deal that you can't place them independently. Alright. Now I need to get all of these things up there, but I don't know in what order. So let's see. Iron ore is left. Water is second from the left. Then canisters are third, and then the ingots are the fourth. Alright. So I can climb up here. And I think we just get a splitter in. Bring this up. I don't know how fast it needs to be, so we're just going to go Mark 3. Alright, apparently curve works at that angle for some reason. There's the iron ore. Next I need a splitter from the water, which I guess I can put on this conveyor lift because it's nice and long and straight. Alright, then that can go into that. Iron ore and packaged water, check. Next, I need a merger on the canister line. Yeah, I did see that. Apparently you have to like replace them though, from what I understand. Alright, so then we have that. And then we have that. Alright. That's all hooked up. And I should probably... I think I'm going to plan on this being the last floor of this iron production factory, and then I'm going to make a better one with the Mark II blueprints and use that in the future. Because this factory is just kind of annoying to work with. Alright, that is all hooked up. I don't know what that lift is for. It's not connected to anything, so hopefully that's fine. Alright, up we go. Now we get to see if this is working properly. I see canisters coming out. I don't see iron coming out yet, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time. Yeah, it does look... Yeah, I mean, to me it just kind of looks spaghetti, which is definitely fun. Like, I want things to look neater though. Like that building I think is much better. That's the Caterium one, which I built and stacks much more neatly. Whereas this one is just kind of a giant mess around the entire outside. I think those probably need to be Mark III. Yeah, that should be fast enough then. Alright. So let me get down here. And it's so hard to tell if it's going fast enough or not. So this is currently all backlogged because it's not working at the moment, but I think it's safe to say that that is done. So how much production is that? 130. Yeah, item counters are coming to belts. So basically, I think they're in the Awesome Shop. I'm pretty sure I have actually unlocked them. So the thing with those is, like, they tell you how much is going through it now, not how much could potentially be going through it. So, like, the reason I can't tell if it's working properly or not is because it's all backlogged, so it's not moving at full speed. So the item counter wouldn't really help with that so much. But they're definitely handy for other purposes. So let's see, this is 70 or 40 water, 130 iron ingots. So we make that up to 650. Make that 70 times 5. We make that 200. All right. Now if I look at the net category of my spreadsheet, I see only positive numbers, which means I believe the factory should be fully operational now, assuming nothing has gone horribly wrong at any point, which seems like a big assumption. But in principle, we have enough production. Now, let's see. The one thing I want to check are the canisters. So that is full. Now, how is this extra storage down here going? Still got a lot of space. Alright, that's good to see. So the thing that can happen with the canisters is if you don't have a significant amount of storage and then you build a new truck stop, for example, then suddenly all of the canisters go there and there are none left over and everything else slows to a crawl for a bit while the canisters reproduce more. So I'm just having a little bit of extra storage. Instead of using actual referencing, you just typed it in manually. Yeah, that's rough. So I have like the interactions between all of them referenced, but so it should be fine. Yeah, I didn't put that much thought in my spreadsheet, so it's entirely possible there's some horrible mistake in it, but it should be fine. Like worst case, I'll know the spreadsheet is wrong when I look at a factory and it's doing differently than it should be. Alright. So the thing I did last time, which never quite got off the ground. Yes, high-speed connectors are up to 28. Yeah, that makes sense. Are they very different? Because I'm using Google Sheets for this. I don't think I've ever used Excel. I mean, I probably have a very, very long time ago, but yeah. I'm using good old Google Sheets. Alright, so this is the high-speed connectors, and it appears to be working. Obviously, everything is going into the dimensional storage, and will for a while. Weird. Alright. Something is up here. Circuit board production is at 0%. Wire production is at 0%. Cable production is at 0%. Alright, what is the problem? What are we missing here? It's going to be on the bottom floor. No, not that bottom floor. The internal bottom floor. Alright, for some reason, is it just a Caterium shortage, or is it an actual problem that I need to be worried about? Looks like a Caterium shortage. I believe this is the belt which should be bringing in Caterium, and it is distinctly empty. Alright. Where is my Caterium gone? Is it just... You keep each factory type on a different workbook? Yeah, okay. Your spreadsheet is way more complicated than mine, it seems. I literally just have, like, a line that says, you know, iron ingots, production 650, usage calculated from elsewhere, net, and then all the inputs. It's literally just like a giant table. Alright, this doesn't look like it's producing enough Caterium. I should be producing... how much? 96 Caterium ingots per minute? Now, I don't have... I don't have the belt trackers installed, but does this look like 96 a minute to you? Because it certainly doesn't to me. Alright. Let's see if we can find out what the problem is. Packaged water shortage. Alright, so then where is the packaged water all going? Rounded down a little bit. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Outgoing transfer rate is saying 27. So, sort of like 96. Alright, so if we have a packaged water shortage... Oh, is this the... No? It looks fine. What is this even being used for? Oh, this is... Okay, well, canister outgoing is nowhere near enough. So we're going to need to get a tractor on that. And probably a tractor in. Yeah, okay, so we're going to need to get a tractor from the... Actually, Caterium ore is not doing too great either, but it's got to be the water. Alright, so I'm assuming that this is the water being short just because it's not getting here because I'm using a stupid factory cart for it instead of a tractor. Yeah, there's more than enough water in the world. And I want to use this outside water supplier if possible. Rounded down to the nearest 100. It's not that bad. We got 27. That's something. Alright. So let's get a tractor in here. And we need to give it some fuel. We need to get some fuel for ourselves, actually, so that's fine. So you get some fuel. Start recording. Please. Alright, well, we'll see if that works. Doesn't look like it did, but you never know. Alright, so then we drive down this way. Then we take a quick left-hand turn. Then we go around here. Alright, we load up our cargo there. And then we make our way back. It's the giant tower. Alright, so that path has been recorded. I'm gonna have to get rid of some of these. And get over here. No, don't want that. And we only want one of these two. And I think I'll use that one because I'm pretty sure this one is more heavily used in general. So then we go around, we grab that. And hopefully we don't stop here. Okay, hopefully this doesn't deadlock with anything, which it very well might. I've sort of had some bad luck with that recently. Alright. Save path as tractor water to Caterium ingots. Save that. Enable autopilot, hide path nodes, and have fun. Deadlocked. Deadlocked instantly. Alright. You are, I assume, doing the same thing? Yeah, okay. And I didn't even name the path right last time. I called it Quickwire. So we'll get rid of you. And you, just for good measure. Oh, okay. The game has crashed. So we are going to reload the game and see how much we lost. Classic experimental update. Game crashes whenever you do anything. No, that was apparently a load-bearing cart. Alright, we are back. And let's see when the last autosave was. Alright, cool. Yeah, there's some power grid off in the middle of nowhere somewhere that isn't connected to fuel but is connected to like a hard drive or something. Okay. That's actually fine. It looks like the last autosave was while we were setting up this, so we're going to need to run back around and check everything again. because I suspect it didn't finish. Yeah, okay, so we need to get rid of some path nodes. And then make our way around. Alright, so in the new portion of the factory over there, things are designed differently, so I won't have to do this as often. Alright, so then I can get back into you. I can save this as tractor, water for deuterium ingots. Save that. Enable autopilot hide path nodes. And off you go. And please move. Hello? Alright, wait, I think it may have worked. Yes, alright, there it goes. It didn't drop off the water this time around, but hopefully it will in the future. Alright, so next step is probably gonna have to tractor in the deuterium ore as well, just based on the look of things. So let's get this guy in. Feed it some fuel to start off with. And start recording. Pretty sure I just remember where the deuterium ore deposits are, so let's head over to this side of the factory and run over some poor innocent factory carts in the process. And then we stop by a recently upgraded deuterium ore supply. And around we go. And back this way. And it's the giant tower over there. Okay. That's that completed. Now we need to resolve the deadlock somewhere, probably. Apparently it's not here. I think it might have resolved itself. The notification went away, so hopefully. Alright, so then go around this way. We only need to stop at one of these, not both. And then we come back around. Check to make sure we don't stop at any unwanted stops. And we're good. Save this as tractor, deuterium ore to ingots. Save. Enable. Hide the path nodes. And off you go. And it actually delivered some. And it's backed up and sent a factory cart flying. Man, having tractors and factory carts in the same city is very funny. Like they do not respect each other at all. Alright, so we have plenty. It's currently recording the incoming transfer rate as 1,500 a minute. It's definitely not that, but it is definitely quite quick. Now the Caterium ore is probably less impressive speeds because I have less of it, I think. I think that stockpile over there is mostly empty. But now this... Well, it's looking slightly less embarrassing. It'll obviously take a while for it to all get sorted out. Let's see. Actually, do I have organization, maybe? No, logistics. Conveyor throughput. It needs crystal oscillators. The thing that I'm going to be building soon. Alright, understandable. So it looks like this is going well, and now the last thing we need is the canisters to be returned. So let's get a tractor in for that. Give it some fuel to start with. And start recording. Wait, was that even the right... Hang on. This isn't the right one, is it? Yeah, that's the Caterium. This inside one is the one I actually want to be taking from. That was almost bad. Fortunately, I caught it. Alright. Crafting bench, give you fuel. Hop in. Start recording. Load her up. And then... Okay, well that was an interesting result. I can't say I expected to go flying quite that far. Okay, let's try that again without a tractor in the way. So we go out here and around, and I think this is the canister return? No, that's not the canister return, is it? Wait, it might be? No, it definitely isn't. Alright. I was incorrect in my assumption that I knew where the canister return was. It's actually right here. Oh, hang on. Can't go in backwards. That would be terrible. This might be the worst path I've ever... Yeah, okay. We're just gonna forget that happened. That was just catastrophic on multiple levels. Where is the canister return? Is it one of these? Yes, it's there. I even labeled it. And it's got some factory carts in it. And we can stop at this one as well, because that's hooked in. Alright. We have figured out where we're going before we started trying to get there, which is a better idea than just winging it. Alright. Off we go. Alright. And we go down this way. And then we turn here, destroy a poor factory cart. And then we go in here. Yeah, let's unload there. That'll be fun. Oh, driving that way down that path might have been a horrible mistake. I feel like that's not normally the way I drive down that little alley, so... Alright. Well, we have a path, and it is tractor Deuterium ingot canister return. And maybe it'll work. Off we go. So yeah, now everything is going to be stuck because of this until that tractor makes it back, which hopefully it does. You need so much deuterium for the high-speed connectors for some reason. Oh wait, no, I didn't want to place the blueprint. I just wanted to look at the recipe. I don't even care that much about looking at the recipe. Alright. So I'm sure that this is fine and won't cause any problems at all. Definitely not going to have constant deadlocks because of it. It's just going to work. So, let's move on to new production, which is crystal oscillators. And we have two alternatives, one of which uses cables and reinforced plates. The other one uses rubber and AI limiters. Alright, using rubber and AI limiters seems more complicated. Let's just do the regular recipe, I think. But in order for that, we're going to need to bring quartz onto the city. Yeah, the tractors definitely leave clouds of smoke everywhere. That is definitely a downside. But it's fine. The environment will be fine. We can never ruin the environment by burning oil. That would never happen. And even if it did happen, who cares about the environment anyway? Alright, let's find some quartz. Where is the nearest source of quartz? It's going to be probably this one. Alright. No, apparently there's quartz over there. Alright, so we could just repurpose this quartz into being on the factory. That would make sense. No point going all the way over there for quartz when I have some right here. So let's get down there and take a look. I just realized that I have actually no idea how much quartz this is, so we're going to have to run all the way down there to investigate. Alright, so let's head over here and figure out what is going on with our quartz supply. And it is quite a ways away. So let's see what we've got over here. Basically the other side of the entire desert, but that's fine. Up we go. And right around the back of this giant mountainy type thing. And we have a vehicle deadlock. Fantastic. Love that to happen when I'm on the other side of the continent. So that's Mark 1 miner. So we can easily, massively accelerate this.
Calculated the necessary power?
So now we have 120 quartz there, 240 quartz total. So Mark 3 belts. And we power that on. Then we merge those, and we're going to have to upgrade these the entire ways. But then we'll be able to put in... I'm going to put quartz 240 into my spreadsheet. And just assume we'll be able to not mess this up somehow. And yeah, the vehicle deadlock certainly is happening. Don't want to miss any spots. Yeah, I know the vehicles are deadlocked. I'm making my way back to them now. Alright, almost there. Run out of steel beams right at the last moment, annoyingly. So we will upgrade to Mark 4 belts for the last portion of this, I guess. They're overkill, but better overkill than underkill. Alright, so that gets it back to this box at least. Now let's go fix that deadlock. Up we go. And I assume it will be by the Caterium. Nope, it appears to have fixed itself mere moments before I arrived. So that's good. What is this? Oh right. Yep, this is what I was worried about. The entire factory cart fleet is having a standoff with this one tractor. So we're gonna have to take you out of there and redrive that path. So this is... I'm pretty sure we're supposed to start going this way. Let's refuel real quick. Give you some. Start recording. Reload there. You unload there. And then just straight on through and around. And around again. And I believe, yeah, we turn in here. And let's check to make sure we don't stop at anything random. Alright, we don't want to stop here. That would be bad. So So now everything else appears to be good. And now we need to save path, deuterium canister return. Enable autopilot, hide path nodes, and off you go. Alright, cool. So that should hopefully work without interruption this time. And it seems like the canister supply might be getting to be too much. Yeah, I believe it is. So in that case, let's... Is the canister return being blocked? No. Alright, so let's... So, let's see, this first one, the power switch is working properly. So I can turn those machines off. I think I messed up on the second floor and didn't do it right. This is technically the second floor. Yeah. So we take that power line. And we connect it down to there. So that this whole thing is reliant on that one power switch. So now we're not producing new canisters, and we should be able to be fine just off of the recycled ones. And the annoying part is that when you burn packaged fuel, it destroys the canister, which does technically mean that we're eventually going to run out of canisters by having this turned off, but it's probably fine. Alright, so we have that. Because if the package return fills up, then that would cause, like, basically a cascade failure throughout the entire city. So we can't have that. Alright, now what were we doing? Right, we need to get the quartz onto the city, which I guess we're going to have to do it. We want this to be in the new portion of the city, which is all the way over there. So we're going to have to run it along the ground a bit further. Our steel beam supply has pretty much recovered, though. Alright, so we have this. And we're just going to keep this as it is, producing along. But I will turn that sink off, just so that this isn't doing anything when it doesn't need to. We want 240 quartz for our system, not however much is left over after that is used. Alright, there's a deadlock again. What's the problem now? Alright, it's another one of these incidents here. Alright. What are you up to? Deuterium ingots to high-speed connectors. Alright, you're actually important then. What a mess. Alright. Something is going on there. Oh, I think we're probably going to have to, like... We might have to scrap the entire transportation setup and redo it with only tractors and see if... and, like, better organized. But we'll do that next time if it becomes necessary. So for now, we need to get the stop where the courts are set up. I guess we can do that now. So that would be somewhere over here. And I guess just along this road. We have blueprints for the road sections now, right? Where are those? Yes. Alright, so let's put a couple road sections there. Alright, then I would need more. Are these in a hotbar? No, they're not. I will put them in a hotbar. So that will be 3, that will be 4. Alright, this is supposed to be an intersection. Alright. Still not entirely 100% sure of how the new road system will work. It's going to be something like this. I place that like that. It is off-center. Wonderful. Let's dismantle that and try again. So if I nudge that there, and then I nudge it there, then that is on center. I can put that in. Hello, factory cart. That factory cart is very confused now. Okay. That's a potential problem. It'll be fine. So now we have an intersection. On this side of the intersection we put a floor tile, which we align it like that. And we should have just regular old foundations on this hotbar as well, because we always end up needing them. So then this goes along there. Alright, Then we need another floor tile here. And then we put the road in. And then we need more floor tiles. There and there. Oh, those are both off center. I did it twice and I messed up both times. Cool. Alright, so this is supposed to be centered there. No, that's... Oh, that is right. This is what's off center. Alright, get rid of this. And top floor tile in. And we continue the road along that way, I guess. And then we have another intersection. Alright, so this is not quite aligned properly, but that's fine. We can waste a little bit of space. Not too worried about it. So now let's get these truck stops in. Alright, so this will be the truck stops for the quartz. So they get... probably only need one floor hole each. Quartz is a low quantity resource. That goes in there. Did that auto snap in? It looks like it did. Alright, so now we get under this. Oh, don't fall though. We have a ladder down. Then we have a wall down a little bit. And a foundation. So we are going to be running these down and down. And hopefully I should be able to see these lifts from a distance. Alright. Now we just have to drag the quartz all the way over here. Which could take a while. In fact, it will take a while. But then we'll have quartz on the foundation and we can start making crystal oscillators, something which I could have automated ages ago but did not. Alright, so there we go. Keep this going around the blueprint designers. Preferably around this testing space for the blueprints. And down into the desert. keep going over this way. That almost didn't connect properly, which could have been very confusing. Alright. Now we're basically there. We just need to put a splitter in so that they each get half. And then hopefully the quartz is moving at full speed down this. Looks like it is. And quartz is now in the new portion of the city. So now with that, we can start thinking about the crystal oscillators. So we need quartz crystals, and a lot of them. So we could use... What is this? Just coal? I don't actually have coal on the factory yet. So we could use water. And that's going to give 52.5 quarts a minute. But we're never going to need a huge amount of quartz, and it'll be way simpler. And not to mention more convenient on the water supply to just have it be constructors. So let's load the auto-connecting box shell. And where is the doors? The first floor being 4 meters up is really quite weird. Alright. Do we need anything fancy for this? Not really. We're just going to be taking one input, running it through a couple of constructors, and then putting it into one output. So let's just do that real quick. 1, 2. I'd like to make this a nice, neat number with underclocking. So quartz crystal is 22.5. So if we make this, say, 20 per minute, then that would be like 20, 40, 60, 80. We could make 120, I guess. Although we really don't need that much quartz crystal. Let's just go... So this will be 100 raw quartz to 60 quartz crystals. So yeah, that should be fine. And now we just get the splitter. So there you go. This is going to need a conveyor lift to get down. I think this splitter will actually work better than facing that way. No, it doesn't quite work. Alright, then what if I squeeze this in closer to the building to give it more room? Again, not quite. What if I have that, like, load down to the floor? Right, it really doesn't want to work, does it? So then the other option is I could zigzag this. So if this is the input, and that comes along into there, then we could have that, and it'll even be load balanced, I guess. That's pretty neat. All right, so that we have that, and then we just merge them all up. Not that. And then this comes around this way and goes in there. So that is all good. And there we go. 100 quartz to 60 quartz crystals. Quartz crystal. Wait, no. That's not where I put that. This is just quartz crystal. 100 quartz to 60 quartz crystal goes in the description, obviously. So we save that and we clear it. And it froze a little bit. So now we see about the overall thing. And it would be nice if I could just not even use the quartz crystal production for this. And I could just have like a constructor in here that does that. So crystal oscillator needs 18 quartz crystal, 14 cable, 2.5 reinforced iron plate. So I guess the sensible way to do it will be pre-production steps up here and then the manufacturer down there. Wait, this is the second floor, not the third floor. There are so many floors in this, it's confusing. Alright, this is the one I want. So I want to start here with that conveyor lift down to the ground. And this constructor going to make, what was it, 18 quartz crystals. Oh, no, I want crystal oscillator recipe. I can add that to my to-do list, actually. So that's 18 quartz crystals per minute. Check. Next up is the cables, which will be a little more annoying. So we need to do iron wire. And then what we need, I think we need 28 iron wires, so we need a second one. And these make 14 each. So you make 14, you make 14. And then we merge them up. And we make probably actually better to use this space back here. So let's have that merging go in the opposite direction. So you two merge up. And you make cables. 14 of it. And then reinforced iron plates. Okay, so we need to get that lift down, and then we need a row of splitters, which I guess can do that. Alright, so that is the wire all set up. So quartz crystal, check. Cable, check. Next up is reinforced iron plates, which I could use more wire for. That would make it easy. How many do I need? 2. I need 5 for every 2, so I need 2.5. Right? Crystal oscillator. 2.5 reinforced iron plates. So if I make this 2.5, then I need another 16 wire, which I can actually do. Was it 16 point some weird number? .5. I need 16.667 wire. 667 wire. So this would need to be 14 plus 8.3. Is that enough? It's basically the exact amount that it produces literally 99% clock speed. Alright. So this would be 22 plus 1 over 3 for the exact value. Oh wait, no, we have 3? Yeah, we have 3, so actually we could split it more than this, but I guess I won't. 22 plus 1/3. Alright. So then we have that. We have these two merging. That looks ugly. Let's make that nice and square. And then have that be a splitter, because we're using the extra wire for other purposes. So this comes around that. Alright, and then we take the rest of the iron ingots and we need to make plates. So that goes in there. And we need, how many plates? 8.333 iron plates. 8 plus 1 over 3. Alright, and then we take, well, first we have to make sure that that is attached, or I will definitely forget it later. So we take the extra wire from here and the iron plates from there, and we squeeze in an assembler, which I guess if we do that, no, that's not going to work. We need more space for this assembler, which I think we could probably just do that on the bottom floor with the manufacturer as well. So let's start putting in our floor holes. So there you go. That's the cable. That's the quartz crystal. That's the iron plates. And there's a deadlock somewhere, but we'll worry about that later. For now, we need to get down to the bottom floor. So we go out here. Wait, I just realized I need to figure out which ones are going where. So the two on the far left are going to the reinforced iron plates, and then the other two are going directly into the manufacturer. And I've gone too far down again. Alright, so we get an assembler off in the corner. And we want to make sure not to take up any floor space if possible. At least as little floor space as possible. So then we have this set up to stitched iron plates at 2.5. And then finally we have our manufacturer, which goes in that, and it receives iron plates from there. It receives whatever this is. I believe that was the quartz. And then whatever that is, which I believe is the cable. And we make crystal oscillators. And then we take the crystal oscillators and we just stick them in there. And I believe that doesn't actually work, right? Because that is going down. So we need to have this go up to the next floor where the output is for the first floor. Alright, so then we get around here. And of course there's a splitter there. So we should be able to move that. So put that there. Then that goes into those like that. And that goes up there, and now it's just a question of the power poles. So let's get Mark II. Alright, and then we will take this over there for easy hookup. And then take this down to the bottom floor to hook up those machines. There and there. And done. So now I have to actually check how much resources this uses. It uses 30 raw quartz. 30 raw quartz. Don't need to keep that note anymore. It uses 12.5, 25, 37.5 iron. Iron ingots. And produces 1 crystal oscillator. Alright, so that is that. Now we can go and save this. $30 raw quartz, 37.5 iron ingots to 1 crystal oscillator. And these don't have line breaks in them. Save that, clear it. Alright. The usual lag when clearing anything involving vertical mergers and splitters. And now let's go up and investigate that vehicle deadlock. Alright. Is it this one? No. Everything here seems to be moving. Fascinating. What is this? What did I just walk in on? Why are you doing all of that instead of literally anything else? Okay. Well, we're just gonna move on and pretend I didn't see that. Alright. So on we go. And let's put the new factory here. So put some roads in along the edges. And floor tiles there. Skip one. And there. And so then those get their little branches. And 2 more floor tiles go in there and there. And then we surround them with foundation. And then this one goes all the way along this way. And just a little bit around that corner. And we fill that spot in. Alright, now we have the truck stop. Which will go in there. And these are both set to unload because it is taking in quartz and iron ingots. Alright, so that's pretty much all of that we need to be doing. Now we need to hook these truck stops up to the power network, like that. And these are filling with quartz slowly. I'm really surprised that they don't have more in them by now. Yeah, okay. I think next stream we're going to tear out the entire transport network and rebuild it from scratch. It's just kind of a nightmare to deal with at the moment. But for now, we're going to continue dealing with it. So, we have those two as our inputs. Then we find it in this giant list. And it's ended up in the utility section for no apparent reason. And we need so many encased industrial beams for this. We need to keep extras in our inventory. Yeah, we really need to first of all put those in the right section. And we also need 965 concrete. No, wait. There's some in... Yeah, there's a concrete factory right over here that I can use. Alright, that's the canister side. This is the concrete side. I'll take some of that. And hopefully now we will have enough to actually build this. So, crystal oscillator goes there. And this is the front. Place it in. And right, I think we actually figured out there was a problem with this setup, but it'll be fine. So let's grab this factory cart that I have in my inventory for no apparent reason. And let's try to specifically drive through the right side. Start recording. Yep, of course it does that. It's a factory cart. How could I have forgotten? So we unload there. Then we come around here. Then we go out here onto the road. Then we take a left. And we stop there. And we come out here. And we follow the road up to this intersection, where we take a left all the way around it. And finally we loop back in and we're done. Save this. So quartz for crystal oscillators. Enable autopilot, hide path nodes. Wait, actually, show path nodes. Yes, it stopped at the one I wanted it to stop at. Alright, so this is the quartz. So that goes up there. And that goes in there. Then we need to make some more factory carts. Let's make another couple. Just so we have them. Inventory space not currently a major issue. Alright, then we lay down this factory cart. And we start recording. It does that every time. So we start there, then we peel around the edge. And then we go down this way, and then into the main city, where we'll have to find the iron ingots and use them. I think we wait to turn until this intersection. Yeah, that's the iron ingots up there. We just need to not stop at the canister output. We need to stop at the correct output. Alright. So we go around here. And then we loop in. And we stop there probably. I hope that counted. And then we come around here. And we make a break for the new section of the city, where things are orderly and reasonable. Alright, then we go up here. And we're going to have to go past it and then turn around to get in, because there are no left-hand turns except for at intersections. So, out we go. And we do a UE. And back in. Alright, now with this one we actually have to check to make sure nothing went wrong, because we went through the main city. So let's get moving. Okay, so far so good. Okay, we stopped here. We don't want that. And I'm not sure that that worked properly, but yeah, we'll see. Alright, so then this is saved as iron ingots for crystal oscillators. Enable autopilot, hide the path nodes, and off you go. Alright, the quartz is definitely making it here. And I also definitely didn't power this on, so let's do that real quick. There's the power pole. And boom. So now we're starting to make quartz crystals in there. And then we take the output, and we have a nice little spot over here where we can put a storage depot, and I think we're gonna think ahead this time and have the sink built in from the start. You go there, and it is right any center overflow. And find the power line. Where is it? Literally the only spot in nearby vicinity that I can't see from where I was standing. Alright, and that sink won't get used for a very, very long time, but it will eventually get used probably. And in the meantime, we need to hook the iron up. You go up and in there. So I do see a factory cart that looks like it should be the iron one, because there's nothing else that should be going out around there at this particular moment. And it is. The journey is starting to get longer from the iron factory. So I'm not entirely sure if we'll have enough iron for this from just those factory carts. But we now have crystal oscillator production, so that's cool. And while we're talking about producing new things, the last new thing we produced, we haven't used it for anything yet. So you need to put down a MAM, grab our high-speed connectors, and alright, we still only have 28. This still isn't working. Is there just not a vehicle assigned to this? Or like, what's going on here? Factory cart. Place it down. Alright. Deuterium ingots to high-speed connectors. Load that path. Enable autopilot. And get going. I want to follow it and see what it does, because it seems to not be working. What are you doing? What is this stop even used for? This is the high-speed connector's output. You... Huh? Okay, I apparently got them mixed up. I'm pretty sure I remember specifically not getting them mixed up, but that's fine, I guess. So if that's actually where the Caterium comes from, then let's attach that in. And this is actually where the high-speed connectors go. Then I guess that will be that as well. I can't believe that. That doesn't even make sense. How is that the problem this whole time? Like, we got some produced. Did they get mixed up halfway through? Or like... Alright. Well, we have Caterium input now. And as long as they don't repeatedly get confused about which one they're supposed to be stopping at, I guess I don't really care. Alright. So that should be properly going now. As should this. Let's see if we have crystal oscillators. Not yet. But I'll put the dimensional depot in, which I apparently forgot to do. In you go. And so far, everything seems to be running smoothly. I see lots of green lights. I see a lot of green lights, so I assume that this is just getting warmed up still. Yeah, we're still waiting on the reinforced iron plates. But here they come now. Alright. So that is crystal oscillators done, and high-speed connectors across the road should be working now as well. Finally. There were like a weirdly high amount of problems with getting these set up. But it should be... yeah, everything appears to be good now, except I missed a belt. Of course I did. I missed a belt, and this belt is not Mark III like it needs to be for some reason. Alright, so there are all sorts of problems with the high-speed connector. It was broken in like literally like 4 different ways, I think. But it is producing now. And that's the important part. And how much of a manifold issue is this going to be? Extremely. The answer is a lot of a manifold issue. That quick wire production is brutal. Is there any way I could have prevented that? Not that I currently have unlocked. Alright. Well, my speed connectors are producing. Crystal oscillators are producing. things seem to be going pretty well in the factory. Let's see here. Still 0 actually produced. And I assume there will be some down in the basement by now. Yeah, this is running. So if I go down here, I imagine there will be some. Nope, not yet. Okay, that's fine. Don't really care. Alright, so that's most things pretty much set up. Oh, I need to put this new factory in to the spreadsheet. That's important. Crystal Oscillator. Production 1. And I believe it was 30... Hang on. Let me check. 30 raw quartz, 37.5 iron ingots. $37.5 into that column. Then we make a new column for raw quartz, and we use 30 of it. And we tell the quartz usage to be, no, not the word sum, equal to the sum of row U, U1, comma, U100. All right. That is that. We are still net positive on everything. And production seems to be going along. Now let's find some more factories and put sinks in. So I think that's going to be what I do for the rest of today, is put overflow sinks on everything. So this needs to first, we need a second smart splitter for this. Smart splitter, not regular splitter. I need to just not have regular splitter on the thing. Like why would I ever even want that? Alright, so then now this does go there, but then it goes into there. And awesome sinks are like weirdly big. What do you mean surface 2 uneven? Alright, there we got it. That's in. And this is center any left overflow. So things will first go to dimensional storage for personal use. Then they'll go to the factory for factory use, and then finally they will go to the sink, which I need to power that one. Alright, then we get over here to this factory, whatever it is. And this is computers. And it's doing a similar thing, where if it's all backed up, it outputs it into the network, which is obviously smart. Like that, I should be doing that for all of them. But oh, I randomly happened to grab a computer there. Smart splitter there. that should be enough space to put a sink in. And there we go. And that will be left overflow. Alright, so that is that. That one already has one. Now we have the concrete. So this one doesn't even have dimensional storage attached because I'm using the dimensional storage from that other previous thing. So let's get just a sink in. And a smart splitter. I don't know how fast that belt has to be, but pretty quick probably. And then we power the sink on and we tell this left overflow. Now our concrete factory will run 24/7, which may or may not cause canister related problems. We shall see. Then we have this one, and this is sand fluctuators. I guess it uses iron ingots. Oh, hang on. Did I? Yes, I did do that wrong. I had that labeled as using iron ore in the spreadsheet. Alright, so that is fixed. I thought I was using iron ingots for more than one thing. Alright, so we have this. It probably would be convenient to have like a blueprint that just does dimensional storage plus sink plus output to the factory. Yeah, I'll probably make that soon. For now, no, not a regular splitter. A smart splitter. And yeah, I mean, that's never going to work, is it? Just not enough room. Alright, so let's take that out. Replace you with a lift back there. Alright. Do any of these modes allow it to work? No. What if I have it loop around that way? Okay, how about something like that? Should give it the space. Yeah, okay, that's very ugly, but it works, and this is a regular splitter again. Dang it. Why am I so bad at putting down the right type of splitter? Smart splitter there. Do that. Do that. Right overflow. And we get an awesome sink in there. And we find a power pole. I am once high-speed connectors, once we have enough of them, I will be able to make Mark III power poles, and that will be very exciting. Is this actually functioning? It is. It's just one of the slower ones. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Surely by this point we have enough high-speed connectors. We're up to 65 of them, which is enough to get Mark III power poles. As long as we also grab some steel pipes, of course. All right. That's great.
Power pole Mark III unlocked. It has significantly more power connections compared to the previous models.
Mm-hmm. It has a couple. It's got 10. All right. So now we have all of that. What else? Oh, probably iron ingots. Iron ingots are just so complicated, though. Like, there are a bunch of different belts that are being balanced into this. All right. Let's pass on iron ingots for now, I guess. Probably shouldn't, but I'm going to anyway. Oh, it's flickering. I really don't like the flickering. Alright. So we have confirmed iron ore supplies are sufficient. What's going on here? Hello, sir? Are you doing anything? I mean, they shouldn't have been deadlocked. They were, like, facing the same direction. Oh! Oh, I'm dumb. This doesn't have a fuel connection. That's the problem. It ran out of fuel. Alright, let's put something on there. Yeah, there is your problem. Deuterium truck ran out of fuel. Alright, so then we just need... Apparently that's too far. Okay, then I need stackable conveyor poles at the midway point. And you go in there. And you get split off again and go in there. And then we get rid of the stackable conveyor poles and just leave a floating belt. And then we give you some fuel for the time being and send you off. Sorry about that, good sir. I did not realize there was a fuel shortage. Like, I just kind of assumed that was hooked up properly, and it wasn't. But now it is. Alright. Wait. Over here, high path nose, thank you. Alright, that's outgoing 387. This is outgoing 114. I hope that's not because it's not getting enough. What speed belt is this? Alright, so that's a Mark IV belt that goes all the way back to this, where it merges with this one. Alright, assuming that this overall production is fine, it should be okay. But that is an assumption. So let's get up here and check if we are producing fully here. 100% there. 100% there. And let's get all the way up to the top floor to confirm. Because if there were shortages, they would probably be up here. 49% lack of canisters. 50% lack of canisters. Alright. But why though? Is there an internal belt that's just too slow or something? How are you guys not getting enough canisters when there's clearly enough canisters on the outside? Looks like... Ah, this is a Mark I lift. Yeah, that'll do it. Up you go. And was the top side of that lift Mark I as well? We need to check that. I've gone around the wrong side. Top side of that lift is Mark II for some reason. Alright. We should be good. That's that problem fixed. And does that problem exist on all of the levels? Oh, of course it does. So the Mark II should be fine. The problem is the Mark I down here. Alright, so that speeds up. And let's see if we have to do that on the bottom floor as well. Probably fixed it here and forgot. Nope. This isn't working for some other reason. A lack of water. Alright, so that one is almost entirely low on water. These other ones are all full. So if I just make that connection there, then let's make some of these pipes Mark II. And hopefully that will fix that water shortage. Yes, this one is just not getting water for some reason. And I guess back here would be the easiest place to equalize them. So it should be totally evenly distributed among the three now, in theory. I think I might just not be bringing water in that tank is probably the issue. I think I only bring them in 2 tanks, and it's these 2. But I'm still bringing in 900 water total, so now we're getting enough water. This should be running again. Yeah, looks like the numbers are up already. Alright, it is 4:53, and I'm mostly just puttering around doing bug fixing. So I think I'm going to end the stream here. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I'll be back on Monday with more Satisfactory, where probably we revamp the entire transport system. It's going to be kind of a pain, but I think the spreadsheet might even just make that easier as well. We'll see. So yeah, if you're interested in that, make sure to come around on Monday, 2 to 5. And yeah, make sure to follow if you haven't already, and I will